This is season number 19 of Bass Talk Live with Matt Pengrack. BTL is presented by Lowrance, Bass Cat Boats, AFTCO, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Pro Guide Batteries, Beatdown Outdoors, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, and Omnia Fishing. Hit him with the hook, Jeffries.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. And I honestly did not intend for it this way, but it turned out to be a West Coast week. We had the breaking news about the Western Bass Shootout going down. We'll have to ask our guest about that today because I think he would have benefited from something like that back in the day. And then we had Brett Hyde on yesterday. And then today we've got Justin Lucas on. Now, Justin is a California dude who's an Alabama transplant. And there's a lot of those now, but you start to notice things. Like, I've been around long enough now where I'm starting to notice things. And one of the things I notice is that some of the Alabama traditions, maybe some of the lingo. So, I mean, like, you get down there, you start hanging out with Gerald or hanging out with Joe Lee. I mean, that's going to rub off on you. But I will say, out of all the years that I've known Justin Lucas, like, you still, like, if you walk in anywhere, people are like, yeah, that dude's not from here.
Dude, yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I haven't picked up. Now, my wife, sometimes I still can't understand her.
Yeah, and she's from Alabama too. Is it that? Didn't you meet her while you were at Alabama or in Alabama or something?
Yeah, dude. So I moved here. I broke up with my girlfriend in California. I told her I was going fishing and that it was more important than her, like, exact words. Packed my stuff up, moved to Alabama. I met my sister-in-law. She says, "You need to meet my sister." Yeah, I was going to say, you need to change that.
I know. I did the West Coast. It was fun. I got too many stats for today and I got all geeked out. All right, back to the life story.
Yeah, so she says, "You need to meet my sister." I'm like, "No, I'm good. I just met her or moved here to fish. You know, I'm not trying to meet any girls." And she showed me a picture of her and I'm like, "Well, she's pretty cute." And then we started talking, and the very first day I met her, I'm like, "I'm going to marry this girl." And started telling all my buddies back in California, and they're like, "Yeah, you're never coming back." And I'm like, "You're right. I'm never going back." So I have been here. Actually, I moved here January 2010, and now it's January 2023. So
I haven't picked up any of the lingo. You don't ever say, like, "Hey," you've never found yourself saying, "Hey, hun, I'm fixing to go to the lake."
Dude, I might have used "fixing" a couple times by now. And we never said y'all out in California. So that is one thing I've picked up, and it just makes more sense because there could be like a group of girls in California and you'd be like, "What are you guys doing later?" And I'm like,
you call them really Betties out in California, right? Like a flock
yeah,
of Betties.
I don't know about that, but
I thought that was the West Coast lingo.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I'm very disappointed. There should have been an over-under on how long it took me on BTL to forget to update the marquee sign, because I was very proud of that find, and I think it adds a lot to the show. It was somewhat disrespectful that you had to come into Imodium AD Pro Brett Height's marquee.
That's a good guy to come in behind. I'm all
dude,
right.
He is a freaking good dude, isn't he?
He's awesome. He's been awesome since the first time I ever met him, and he's never changed. He's a good guy. He flies under the radar a little bit, you know.
I think he's cool with that.
Yeah, I think he loves it. And the dude's an awesome fisherman and just a really cool guy. Yeah.
Hey, it wasn't appropriate to ask him this, but I'll ask you this. Do you think he's just made a king's ransom on the jackhammer, Justin?
There's no telling, man.
I mean, dude, that has to have been a lucrative business venture since that thing came onto the scene.
His bank account is probably just fine from the jackhammer alone.
You ever seen him upset? Like really ticked off? Like, he's one of those guys that I've never seen. Like, I feel
The
like
only time
okay,
I've seen him mad is like when he's missed a cut or something and he knows he should have been in there, or like if he didn't get around any fish. But that's like the only time I've seen him mad. He just doesn't
Okay.
really get angry.
I found the S. Now I just need the L, U, the C.
Don't
and the
worry
A.
about it, dude.
No, I
Don't worry
have to
about it.
because people are gonna watch the show and then look at it's just it looks like I'm remodeling back there because I just got my 2 little pegs.
Yeah. I'll tell you what is crazy, dude. Back to accents is my son having an accent. And
Really?
yeah, it's weird. Like, it's just weird because he doesn't talk like exactly like me.
Oh, and
That's weird.
he's around other Alabamians.
Oh, yeah. Alabamians, I guess. Yeah.
Listen, I love it. I just say you're from the West Coast, so this is definitely.
No, dude, I love the Southern accent too. I love living here. I'm never leaving. This place is, to me, the best place on earth. So,
all right.
the people are amazing. Yeah, state's amazing. Bodies of water are amazing. Nothing to complain about.
I have seen via social media that you've been doing a little bit of the, I guess, boat show, tackle show circuit.
Yeah. Well, one. I did Fun and Sun in Fort Worth area this past week.
My question is this: how was it? How is the attendance at those things? Is that a dying art, or is there so much online now that people like? It's almost like coming around where people are like, "Oh, it's not a live stream like this. I get to actually go shake Justin Lucas's hands." Like, what are your thoughts on the shows, boat shows, fishing expos, meet and greets in 2023?
I mean, I don't know if people care to meet me at the place, but I'm sure they like coming and putting things in their hand, a rod, a reel, seeing tackle. Even for me, I can get on Tackle Warehouse all the time, which I do, but it's something to be in a tackle store and see that swim bait or see that bait, even Berkeley stuff, because I don't get to see everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere for me to go to see everything. So like they had a great, a ton of Berkeley stuff at this place last week, and I'm going through and I'm literally like saving things and colors and making orders on my phone later when I get to the hotel room, through the way that we make orders, being a sponsored angler or whatever. But it was awesome to be there and see everything in person and be like, oh, I need that. I didn't think about that, and so, yeah, I still like being in person at places. Everybody there was a lot of people there, dude. There really was. And it was a great show. It always is. Fun and Sun does a great job. So I don't think it's a dying breed or anything. I think, and I think.
Well, between the online stuff and then when COVID hit, there was a kind of a consensus that like that stuff was going to be real hard to rebound. But it sounds like from what you're saying.
I think people miss that stuff, like I think they got a taste. This is my opinion, and maybe for like my wife and my family and I personally, but like we went to Costco a couple of days ago and we haven't had a Costco membership since COVID. And anyway, she was like, it's nice to be back in here with like a bunch of people and stuff. And I think people probably feel the same way about shows. It's nice. You realize it's, I don't know, life is about family, community, relationships, stuff like that. So you can't get all that on just experienced online, Yeah,
that's fair. Costco better than Sam's? I mean, I've got the Sam's card.
Dude, it is, man. We switched to Cricket Wireless a year ago. Yeah. So funny story about that real quick is we're up at Champlain. Jacob Wheeler is hanging out with me and Jordan at the little cabins up there or whatever. And he's the only one with service. I'm like, dude, what kind of service do you have? My phone, I can't get service. And he's like, I got Cricket Wireless. I'm like, you got Cricket Wireless? Like, come on, dude. That's you're lying. And he's like, no, bro, I swear. And he shows me his phone, it says Cricket. I'm like, dude. So I go and switch. I've been with Verizon forever.
Yeah.
I'm all nervous about switching phone companies.
Oh, heck yeah.
We saved like $98 or $96 a month for the exact same stuff to switch to Cricket Wireless. And I've had better service ever since I switched to Cricket Wireless. But so when we switched to Cricket, we got a free year at Sam's Club.
Okay.
And we were there for the past year. And I don't know. I like Costco better. The one thing that's cool about Sam's Club, though, I don't even know why we're talking about Sam's Club right now.
Because this is important. This is important stuff. People, all of our listeners I'd say 90% of them have the decision to make between Costco and Sam's Club, and
is
especially if you're a tournament fisherman, there's a lot of value to be had there for tournament week.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. So
Here, watch this. Watch this.
Let's see. Hopefully you spelled it right. Yes. Looking
There
good.
we go.
Looking good.
All right.
But yeah,
Costco.
we like Costco. The cool thing about Sam's, I was going to say, that Costco doesn't have is you can take your phone and like scan everything as you're going and just pay for it that way. The lines at Costco were super long. But other than that, we like Costco.
I've got it right there. There's my Sam's Club app.
Dude, that thing's cool. Really cool.
I just bought a computer chair there too.
Nice.
All right. You want to talk about some bass fishing?
Let's talk about whatever you want, dude. Well, almost whatever you want. I'm sure if I told you that, you would come up with some stuff. So I can't.
I've got some stuff, Justin.
I can't tell you whatever you want because you would. Yeah, that wouldn't be good, probably.
It feels like this year's quote unquote off season, and there is an off season. There is a gap in tournaments, has been longer than average.
I feel that way every year.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I feel that way every year. I so wish we had professional tournaments in the fall. I mean, I get it, but man, I wish we went to like at least the end of October. Like 2 or 3 months off is max. We're at 4 months.
Even with hunting season, you think if there was a 3 tournament independent circuit, big entry
I don't know.
fee,
I mean, I don't know if it would do well, but I would like to see it. I would fish them. I don't get bored, man. There's still plenty to do. And my big thing in the off season is just really catching up on family time, like trying to have quality family time. And as much as I love that, like I still have things going on, but at the end of the day, I just want to be competitive and get out there and fish some tournaments. So
how long do you think? So I always find myself, especially with the opens, that last quarter or half of the season, you get into this deal where like you're dialed in. That's the only term. Whether you're catching them or not, you're dialed in. You're not thinking about the process. You're reacting like you feel like you're in the grind.
Yeah.
And then it takes a while to get back into that at the beginning of the year. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you kind of get that too?
I feel that way every single year, dude.
And then you wish, well, why didn't I fish more during the off season? So I maintained that feeling that I had at the end of the year, built on it, and took it into next season instead of having a little bit of kind of reset or feeling like you're starting over.
Yeah, I feel like I restart every single year. But at the same time, dude, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe if we did like try and keep it rolling over, you don't want to get burned out. You know, that's what does happen to guys in the sport, dude, is they'll get burned out. Like they're just nonstop, go. And I felt like I was that way probably a little bit earlier in my career. But once you have a family and stuff, like it's hard to be that way. So it's good to take a little bit of a break, reset. The break's just a little too long for me. That's all.
I gotcha. What I'm trying to pull up this.
Was it like your girlfriend texting you or something right now?
No. I'm pulling up the document because it had been a hot minute since I had done some hardcore research.
I got you.
I've got some hardcore research. So one of the things I've gotten into this year already, Brett Height and I talked a lot about the old FLW days. I'm going to tie these shows together.
Okay.
And you've talked a lot about that too, about how important the FLW Western Series and Division was to your transition to the front of the boat in 2010 on the FLW Tour, your affiliation with National Guard, especially starting as a co-angler. Like, we don't have to go into all that.
Yeah. Unless
you have a burning desire to cover that again.
No, just whatever you got.
Here's my question. How did you get on the National Guard team, though? Was that someone where they were like, hey, This is how did that come about? Like, out of all the co-anglers, how did you get picked?
So I know exactly how I got picked. And it was just kind of like, dude, it was, I wouldn't say anything else. Like, if I look back at everything, it's like, yeah, I'm putting myself in the right place at the right time. But I would be lying to myself if it wasn't orchestrated, like literally the Lord's work, dude. I swear, because things just work out so perfectly where I couldn't have planned it so perfect myself. I drew Art Ferguson in 2006 in the fall on Wheeler Lake for a Strand Series championship. And he is staying with this guy named Sergeant Frank O'Laughlin, who was merging this National Guard and FLW thing together. And they were friends somehow. Out of 200 boats, I draw the guy staying with the guy that's putting this deal together, and fished with Art that day. And Art could just tell, you know, I was, 19 or 20 at the time. And Art could tell I was hungry, maybe a decent little fisherman at the time, had a lot to learn. But went back to his hotel room that night and was like, hey, if you're going to do this West Coast thing, you need to look at this guy. And that's how, and then I got the phone call, had the interview, and that's how it all started. I mean, dude, if I don't draw Art Ferguson, things might be different, you know, to this day. So
wow, what's Art Ferguson up to?
I don't know. He used to guide at St. Clair in the summer and then Toho Kissimmee in the winter. Huh. I don't know if he's still doing that or not.
That's a wild story, man.
I know, dude. I'm telling you. I've had crazy things happen, and I can't say it's all me, dude. There's no way.
Yeah, but listen, you could have been just a real tool during that day, and Art could have just gone back and not said anything. So I think Polinick is like something about where luck or something about preparation and luck merging or something like that. So you're obviously doing something right to be able to take advantage of these. So I think you have to have a lot of credit.
You still have to, you know, you still do have to put yourself in those opportunities. You know, had I not been fishing the Strand Series, you know, I was working at the time thinking about, what am I going to do if fishing doesn't work? And being a fireman was like the only thing on my radar that I could do that would allow me time to fish. And I was kind of getting to that age where it was like, all right, either fishing's going to have to start working or I'm going to have to start doing something. And then that fall, I had won a boat or two boats like within that 2006 year. And then that fall, get the deal. I think my entries were $600. So they were paying my 4 entry fees, which was $2,400 at the time for 2007 and 2008. And then I won, I won a few of those events. And
did you win 4 in 7 and 8?
I won 4. And,
but in 06, you won. Well, let's start from the beginning before we get into that, because I have stats about that. So let's set the scene. You're young Justin Lucas. You're obsessed with playing the flute. You're a flute player. Is that inaccurate? Dude,
my mom made me play the flute when I was like in 3rd grade, and I went to one lesson and quit.
Okay, so you're a aspiring flute player, with a bunch of firemen on your walls, because that's what you're aspiring to be.
I wasn't aspiring to be that. It was
then you roll into the.
This is why you can't give Matt Pangrak free reign, everyone.
This is called research. What are
you, like, hitting up my old teachers and stuff, dude?
So you roll into the 2006 Toyota Western Series Adventure. You're like 18 years old, right? In 17, 18, right? Yeah. So your very first event ever. This is interesting because I think a lot of people have experienced a situation similar to this, and you can't let it deter you. You double zero as a co-angler. You double zero your first derby ever, a Toyota Series on Havasu out of 200 boats. Never caught a keeper. I think your pro correct. The first day had like 3 for 7.5, and your pro the second day had 1 for like 2.9.
Yeah, it was tough.
What do you remember about that?
Dude, it sucked. It sucked, and I remember thinking, like, I don't know if the back of the boat is for me, because you got to remember, or maybe you don't, but I've told the story a couple times, but I grew up fishing with my grandpa mostly.
Yep.
And he wasn't much of a fisherman at all. And he bought a boat just so we could fish, and he always let me drive the boat, always let me run the trolling motor. So this was my first time fishing as a co-angler out of the back of the boat, and I blanked both days. So even though the fishing was really tough, like I don't even think I had a bite.
No,
was bad.
98 out of the 200 co-anglers actually zeroed that tournament.
Yeah, it was tough, dude. That's tough.
Was
That's
it?
super
Did the
tough.
lake suck then, or was it just a brutal?
I think it was cold. It was like February, or maybe even the end of January, and it was just like cold and tough, man. It just wasn't good.
Uh,
I don't.
I feel
remember
like
the
that's an
lake.
excuse because also fishing as a co-angler in that tournament was Cody Meyer, and he top 10'd it. So
Yeah. Well, my friend at the time won it. John Billheimer. He won. He was the guy that I was fishing team tournaments with and stuff, and he won it. He was 16, and I watch him win. He's younger than me, and I double blank, and I'm like, gosh, I got to be fishing as a boater. Like this isn't the deal.
yeah,
That was my first thought, and it was easy to get that thought because watching him win and then me not doing good at all, and we fished together all the time. It made me think that I should just be a boater, but it was so much more expensive to do it.
I mean, at the time, did you know any of the quote unquote pros? Like you weren't buddies with Skeet or had any like major mentor? I mean, you're just a dude. You're just a playing firefighter jumping in a derby.
I know no one, dude. No one.
Wow.
Just local guys, like our local guys.
Yeah.
No big name guys or anything.
So then you had so then you're third out of the four as a co-angler. You decimate everyone on Shasta. And I think this is a very interesting tournament. It looked like it was brutally tough. And then it was like mega sacks galore the last couple of days of the event. You won by like 13 pounds. You're like three tournaments into your co-angler career. So you double zero, you have a good tournament, and then you blow what happened on Shasta for the weights on that?
Okay, so the only way that happened, there's really two little stories I got to tell about that. So I go up there and practicing, and the spots are just biting the tail of a worm on a dart head, right? They're like literally bite the worm in half. And I thought, man, bites as a co-angler will just be good. You just need to get bit. So I left a tag in on a knot on a dart head, which is basically kind of like an exposed shaky head, but a darter head. I left a tag in and tied a number 4 drop shot hook on the end and threaded it through the tail of the worm. And
stinger hook
on a robo worm at the time. And start catching all these fish on the back hook. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like this is actually working, and I think I drew Matt Newman the first day. Was that right?
That would have been the second day, Justin, because he only had like 6.5 pounds with him the second day, but everyone on the second day sucked.
Yeah. The first day I think I had like 12 something or maybe 11 something.
Yeah.
But I remember even losing a fish, like for a split second, the big hook came out like for a split second, and the stinger hook got the fish in the bottom of the lip. And so I end up still catching the fish, and it's the stinger hook got him in the bottom of the lip. So anyway, that was pretty cool. But so I draw this guy named Dave Noller. He was probably in his mid 60s at the time, and draw him. He's got the best spot on the lake. It's way up the Sacramento arm. I mean, it was just, he would just go in there and sit on his little folding chair all day, throwing a worm around. And crazy thing is, I'm like, oh, kind of probably a little cocky. I'm like, man, I got this special rig, and all this. And then lo and behold, dude, he's like, come look at my boat. And he shows me, he's throwing the same idea. He's throwing a worm with a stinger hook in it. And I'm like, no way. So at least we're going to be in an area. He's like, I got a big area. We're going to go there, sit all day. So another one of these crazy things that happened, dude. We're fishing that day, and I miss a fish. And I'm like, man, that was a good fish. And he throws right in that spot, turns around in his little chair. I'll never forget it. And he throws right where I'm reeling in from and catches a 4.5 pound smallmouth.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude, I could have used that, like that kind of sucks. Like he got that fish. I know that's the one I just lost. He threw right back in there. Well, had he not done that, we wouldn't have been paired together on the final day. So the only reason I won that tournament, really, to be honest with you, is because he catches that fish, keeps me in second, not in first, and it bumps him from being in third or fourth up to second. And so because we were both second after day 3, we draw each other again for day 4. And the guy that won the tournament, Mark Medoc, as a pro, if I would have drawn him, he was fishing a swim bait on bridge pilings. So you have no chance, not a prayer.
Yeah, you're toasted.
And I think the guy that was leading that day caught 6 pounds, as a co that drew him, he ended up catching 6 pounds. So had I not drawn Dave Nollard and him catch that fish and everything work out like that, there's no way that him and I, that I win that tournament and win a brand new boat at 19.
You said your quote on that tournament was, "First of all, I want to say that I fish with the greatest guy in the world, Dave Nollard."
Yeah.
I've never had so much fun hanging out with a 60-year-old guy before. That was you.
I mean, it gives me chills, man, because like him and I still talk. We just talked a couple weeks ago. I think he's 83 now. Mm-hmm. But he's just a good dude. And after that tournament, we had a friendship that started from that. And I started practicing with him for all those National Guard tournaments after that. And he is the one that really taught me how to be a finesse fisherman and how to fish a drop shot and all that kind of stuff. Like I learned more fishing with him, practicing with him after that than I ever learned before that. Dave
Nollard, Nollar.
Legend in Southern California, man.
Is he still fish?
Yeah, he still even fishes. He goes up to Alaska every summer, and his son has a halibut charter service up there, and he's just an incredible guy, man. His son fishes too, Brian, and just good family, good people. He was a high school principal, and he was retired, after I met him. So kind of made sense that he kind of took me under his wing and was so good with me. He worked with teenagers his whole life, and just a good guy.
Dude, that's a great story.
He even came to my wedding.
How have I not heard this story?
Him and his wife came to my wedding.
Have you told this story before?
Maybe a couple times, but not like we don't get, there's so much to tell. There's a lot.
You did mention, so you mentioned your buddy John, who won the first event.
Yes.
I thought it was funny in this article. You won the third, he won the first, and your quote was, "Yeah, I guess we're just trying to make a name for ourselves." So you definitely succeeded in that aspect.
Well, I don't know if I made a name for myself at that point, but we were trying. We were pretty motivated young guys for sure.
I want to take the first break of the show. When we come back, we'll skip ahead a year to 2007, because back-to-back 2007, 2008, we're still in the back of the boat, but you did something that was pretty impressive on the Columbia River.
Yeah.
But it's how you did it that I want to get into.
Okay.
And what you did it with. So it's BTL on a Wednesday, January 18th with Justin Lucas. We'll be back right after this.
Introducing HDS Pro. Watch fish reacting to your lure live with Active Target 2. Get game-changing clarity in the megahertz range with the new Active Imaging HD sonar. Find the richest fishing spots with CMAPS charts. Take full control of your boat with the ultimate fishing system. HDS Pro. The more you see, the more you catch.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top 1 on Strike. Hey guys, Gerald Swindle representing the AFCO Hydronaut. This is the jacket I love wearing when times is tough, and I'm talking about the weather, not the fishing. The jacket, what I like, I got a double cup right here. I can seal up the bottom of my jacket because when you're fishing, you're holding your arms up. You're bad about getting water that runs downhill. Everything bends good. I'm long arm. Look, it fits very comfortable. My arms is flexible. I've got the speed hood on, pouring down rain. I can get everything zipped up. One thing they did is they made plenty of pocket space. If you ain't got enough pockets in the Hydronaut rain suit, you just got too much stuff. From the water membrane, that's 30K, baby. 30 times the reason you ain't gonna get wet. Super warm. If it's cold in the wintertime, you put on your Hydronaut, you're gonna be a much more comfortable person. If you don't want to just look sexy at Dairy Queen, wear your Hydronaut. We got it from small to 5X. Most rain gear does not come in that many sizes. You got waist adjusting straps. We can make it fit you. No matter what the environment is, we want you to be comfortable. We want you to be dry. You gotta check it out. It ain't gonna let you down.
All right, welcome back, BTL, on a Wednesday. Do want to mention that I talked with Brian Head yesterday, and unbeknownst to me, Michael Neal had been working on a new spinning rod over at Denali in the Covert Series, the 762 MS, 7'6" medium action. It's what he does for all of his offshore drop shotting. So go check that thing out. Obviously, Michael Neal, he's caught a few fish over the last couple years, as have you, Justin. I mean, you're right up there as one of the top 3 or 4 guys that have this thing figured out now. Now you're going back to 5 fish.
Yeah, I mean, Michael and Wheeler, they've obviously won, and Connell, they've been winning. I haven't won. I've been close and had a lot of top 10s, but they definitely had it dialed the past couple of years.
You are you're 7 for 27 against Jacob Wheeler. Like, I mean, we've had you on before. You're like, dude, when we're in the top 10,
would come up with that,
I want to be in regular season events, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, dude, you look at he never finished below 11th this year. He's got the AOYs, he's got the titles, he's got the trophies. I mean, he's the guy the guys are gunning for. So that's who you're gunning for. You're on his level, but he's gotten the better of you. What have you done this offseason to up that 25.6%? That, I mean, you're beating him 25.6% of the time. You'd like to see it maybe more 50-50, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously.
So what have you done during the off season?
Well, I haven't been pre-practicing at all the past couple of years because I've been doing both tours. And it's just really, it's tough doing both tours, being able to pre-practice. But I've already gone and pre-practiced 3 lakes so far. So,
really?
You know, you got to look at it like, you know, Wheeler's doing that. He's winning. It's obviously still a player, especially with electronics and everything now. As advanced as they are, you have to have as many, spots as possible to be able to keep up with these guys. So, yeah. And we only have 2 days of practice. So it's kind of even more like a reason to go pre-practice. So I've done that a few times where past couple of years, I haven't really done it at all.
I guess I when I was going through, because for some reason the BPT stats you have to look up individually. It's not, you know, it's got all your FLW and all that stuff, but then nothing.
I don't know why they haven't fixed that yet.
But I think we're taking for granted how much he's like in the top 3. Like, I go to the tournament, it's just like Jacob Wheeler. It's like, holy cow.
Dude, maybe you can tell me somebody different.
But dude, here's the deal. You're 7 for 27 against him, but there's like a ton of those where you finish like 6th or 5th or 8th, like out of 80 guys. And he's like 2nd or 3rd or 4th.
I know. He, this past year, even though he didn't win a tournament, that I don't know, maybe you can go back and do it, but I think that's the most consistently high finish professional season ever. Dude, he only missed the top 10 one time, and it was 11th place.
I think he did that on purpose.
I know Aaron. I'm pretty sure when Aaron won AOY in 2015, he had the best year ever up at that point. He won 2 events, but his average, I think, was like 15th place.
Well, let's look it up. So
I'm just saying, to average inside the top 10 that's absurd.
That's a 1 in 8, basically a 1 in 8 chance. So 2015, oh my gosh, Yeah, that's pretty strong there. So 2015, he goes third. Oh, yeah, I remember. He had a 66 that I think might have kept him from the greatest season ever. He had a third, a 66, a second, a first, a 15th, a 13th, a first, and a 6th, and a 28th in the AOY. Yeah, oh my
crazy.
gosh, look at that year.
That was insane year. On the elites to this day.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top 6 finishes.
I know that because when I won AOY a few years after, I'm like, I wonder how, like, what my average was versus.
Not even close.
No, I think he was like 14th or 15th, and I was like 21st or 22nd place average. He was off the charts that year, dude.
That's absolutely insane. All right, I want to go back to 2007, 2008. You win back-to-back co-angler on the Columbia River, but I thought it was interesting, and I don't hear you talk about this a lot. I still am steadfast in my refusal to throw it, but I think a little known fact about you is you've probably won more money on a Carolina rig in your career than most of the guys on tour, because you've won 2 tournaments as a co-angler in the back.
I won 50 grand on a Carolina.
So you've won 50 grand on a Carolina rig, which I find intriguing and also disappointing.
Yeah, I'd never even threw a Carolina rig before that. I was up there practicing with Dave Noller, and I'm like, man, I wonder if this will work. And it was a little 4-inch. You can imagine what it was, a little 4-inch stick bait. And I was like, I'm going to try this thing on a Carolina rig. Like, people throw a speed craw up here on a Carolina rig that was popular, and then everyone was drop shotting and whatever else. And dude, that thing was it was the deal. Like, when I tried that in practice, it didn't matter where I went, where Dave took us, we would catch fish on it. And then throughout the tournament, literally the last day, my boater goes, hey man, I'm in 115th place. You got a chance to win this thing. Where do you want to go? And I remember telling him, just take me anywhere there's a ledge. It doesn't even matter. And we go down river and we're fishing on this ledge, which is the Columbia River is the only thing that's really kind of like the Tennessee River on the West Coast. And so you're out there, off a big flat on a ledge and just dragging this Carolina rig, catching 2 to 3 pound smallmouth. 12 pounds was a good bag, but it was the deal. I think I won that tournament by like a few pounds, 4 or 5 pounds.
And then backed it up.
And then the next year went back with the same thing and did it again. Yeah. It was cool. It was about as simple as it gets.
Did you get to the point over that 3-year period, 06, 07, 08? I mean, you have 5, 6 wins, tons of top 10s. Now you're showing up with the National Guard, where you'd get in guys' boats and they would be like, oh my gosh, I'm fishing with Justin Lucas today. Like, not like, I mean, everyone knew who you were though when you got in the boat with them, but like they had a good chance of getting their butt kicked.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I mean, I was still a co-angler, so, but I did like, and this is what I tell people when I'm like, hey, I think it's a great idea to be a co-angler. Most people go out there and they're like, oh, I just had terrible draws, whatever. And I'm like, man, I always wanted to draw. I didn't want to draw Gary Dobbins or Brent Ayler or Brett Hite. Like, I wanted to draw the guys that were just kind of average, and that were around some fish and that they couldn't catch all the fish and they were going to leave space for me to catch some. Those were the guys I wanted to draw. So, I mean, every time they're like, put my name with the big guy's name, I'm like, oh gosh, tomorrow's going to be tough. That's not going to be fun. But when it was a guy maybe I hadn't heard or whatever, it was like, okay, we have a chance here. This is could be good.
Kind of for the co-anglers, and I fish the opens too, and sometimes it's kind of you have to let them know when you're going to make a move, what's going on. Like, what's kind of your rule as a boater when you're fishing as a co-angler to make sure that you're efficient and that you're not like wasting any time? Like, do you give the guys like a 3 or 4 minute heads up, and kind of what are your expectations of your co-anglers when the guy says, hey, when you say it's time to roll, what are kind of your co-angler expectations?
I still have, because of coming as a co-angler, I still have like this. I just had, it's like instilled in me or whatever, that I just do it second nature. But I tell people like a caster or two ahead of time, hey, we're about to leave. Every time. Doesn't matter if it's the camera guy, doesn't matter if it's the boat official, doesn't matter if it's a co-angler. I give everybody a heads up, because I remember being a co-angler and like, you know, I would just tell like, hey, just give me a heads up and I'll be down there before you, but just tell me. And so
well,
I
now
know
you're just lying on BTL, Justin.
Why?
Well, because on March 13th, 2008, you were fishing in the FLW National Guard Western Division tournament.
Okay.
And you caught a 13-pound, 9-ounce behemoth. And Jeff Billings said, dude, we have to go. But you said, just one more cast.
That is
and
true.
And that is when you caught the 13-9.
So that's true. It was the end of the day. That is, I would say, the one time that we were in Frank's track. There was all these big fish being caught. And I had 4 3-pounders and a 12-incher. And I remember Jeff picking up the trolling motor, and he's like, dude, we got to go. And I remember watching him strap down his rods.
And you said, no, I'm still fishing.
Make one more. No, I said, I'm going to make one more cast. And he's like, make it quick. And I pitch out a drop shot on a bait cast and, you know, go to pick up, dude. My line's swimming away from the toolies. I'm set the hook. And, you know, we both start freaking out because we know this is a giant. We know the time's crunched. He's going, do you want me to put the trolling motor back in the water, or do you want me to grab the net? I'm like, I don't know, man. It's hung up right there. So he's going up to the front to put the trolling motor down, and it comes out of the toolies and just starts swimming right towards the boat. Comes, jumps next to the boat. He nets it, a 13-9. And it was the last cast. We made it back with like 20 seconds or whatever to spare, something ridiculous.
And the screwed up thing about that was it wasn't even the biggest fish that crossed the scales that day.
No, dude, there's a guy from, I can't remember his name. Maybe you have it there. He was from Davis, California. He caught a 13-11 as a pro that day. And then the very next day, the dude caught like a 12-13 or a 12-14. Something insane. Dude, that was when it was, I mean, it was insane back then.
So currently competing today, you have to have, so Mark Tyler doesn't fish at the top level anymore. You have to be the guy who's weighed in the biggest bass in a tournament competing at the professional level.
Potentially. I don't know.
There haven't been many 13.
I mean, dude,
there haven't been any 13-9s weighed in, Justin. I would put money on it that out of everyone competing at the top level of professional fishing, BPT, Bassmaster Elite Series, there's no one competing on that series right now that has weighed in anything 13-9 or bigger.
Maybe not. I don't know. I never thought about it.
Is that your biggest fish ever?
Oh, yeah.
By far?
Yeah. Oh, well, I caught, I weighed in at 1191 at the Delta one time in a tournament. And then at Toho a couple of years ago, I caught like 11 and a half pounder. And then I've had a couple others over 10.
Do you have any of those freak show stories where you hook a freight train and can't do anything with it and it gives you nightmares?
I lost one at the St. Johns River on the final day in 2014 that I'm just going to see if I can find the picture while I'm telling the story, because you know Shea Baker.
Yep.
That was when he first started getting all the GoPro stuff going. And it was the end of the day, 30 minutes to go before I have to make my 40-minute run back. And it was real cloudy out there on Lake George, and there was all these holes in the eelgrass, you know, where these fish are spawning. And the sun came out for a minute. And I found this fish, dude, that I'm like, one of those ones that just makes your knees start shaking, like as soon as you see it. And I put the poles down. I'm like, well, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to sit here for 30 minutes until I have to go in and try and get this thing to bite. And on my very last cast, again, I get that fish to bite, and I set the hook like a pansy and lose that fish, dude. And it was, I don't know if you guys can see it or not right there.
Yeah, that looks
That's
like Loch Ness Monster.
that's zoomed in. So here's the photo. There it is.
Is that
zoomed out.
online or is that like in your photo, in your actual gallery? Like in your photo?
I saved it in my photos. But so you can see right there. This is just the GoPro that Shay
Gosh.
had set up on the boat. But dude,
It looks like it's Photoshop, Justin.
I'm telling you, it was like a 12 or 13 pounder. It was
What'd
That's
you
not
hook
a
it
10.
on?
Berkeley Power Hog, 4-inch Power Hog.
Oh, so you had string. You weren't finessing it.
No, dude, and look how bad that hook set is. Look how far I'm leaned back. Like I just set the hook like a total pansy, and that's why I lost it.
What do you explain to me? What do you mean you set the hook like a pansy?
Like I didn't get a good hook set on it. Like I was up, I had my rod tip up too high, felt the bite, didn't drop it far enough, set it from too high. It comes up, jumps, and spits. But
oh my gosh.
yeah, I had to set the rod. Like I literally had no time. I had to set the rod down. Didn't even get a pitch back in there another time, and strap it down and ride all the way back to Palatka just thinking about that thing. So that sucked.
What day was that? Did you say?
That was the final day. I would have.
Oh my gosh! You never got another chance.
Would have probably got second with it. Chris Lane blew that tournament out of the water, if you remember. But that's the one fish. I lost a really big one at Sam Rayburn a couple of years ago on live, but that one right there, I would rather have than any other fish I've ever lost. Well, not any other fish I've ever lost, but I would rather seen that one.
Yeah, we got some the peanut galleries chiming in. James said you didn't give him the onions.
The onions.
Yeah, that's when you just reeled out and really crank him. You've never heard of the term giving him the onions?
No, I should have gave him a lot of onions on that one, dude. That was
Sean says, dude, you got to crank and swing.
I know. Look, I know. Trust me, I have set the hook a lot harder on big fish ever since then. And I caught some big ones in that tournament. It was just that one fish caught me off guard. I sat there for 30 minutes pitching in the hole, and I just didn't expect it to bite on my last cast.
Yeah, I've heard, Peter, I've heard Mark Menendez's story about hooking. There's a couple guys with those stories about just hooking cartoonish like fish.
That one, yeah.
But I mean, dude, everyone's like, well, everyone's got the story about losing the big one. But if you think about it at the odds, like you're more likely to lose a big one. When you get over a certain size, you're talking bone, structure, power, jaw, bite size. They're taking the bait differently. Now all your stuff is out of whack as opposed to that fish that you're fighting. Like, yeah, you're going to lose a disproportionate number of the absolute behemoths because, I mean, we're not fishing stuff that's designed for 15-pound fish. I mean, those are like flathead catfish size, striper size stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's harder to penetrate.
Look at this thing one more time, dude. Just look at that. Zoomed in as far as it'll let me go.
That's the Loch Ness Monster.
Dude. That was a freak. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think if you have an exposed hook or, like if you were going to hook a big fish on a single swim bait or maybe like Josh Jones is doing it on a swim jig, with just this exposed hook. Like he's obviously catching these big fish with one hook and he's getting a good hook in them. I think when you start talking about soft plastics and Texas rigged and all that kind of stuff, your odds probably do start going down just naturally compared to like a big open gaff hook like that.
Yeah. Who mentioned that? Oh yeah. Clay talked about, and he didn't really talk about it much, but do you know any deets on didn't Roy Hawk catch a freaking like 18-pounder on fork or something, like a 17-8? They never really got an actual weight. He got like a Nessie size bass.
I think I remember Josh telling me about that.
But it was something there was something about it in like practice and there were people around, or he didn't get a great weight on it. And then he didn't want to put it in the live well because there was a bunch of stuff, like not sketchy stuff, but just stuff to where he was just like, you know what? Fish of a lifetime, not really going to blow it out of the water. I'm going to try to win the tournament. And he just slid it back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I heard about that fish. I never saw it. I don't think, but, I heard it was a monster.
Dude, if you fish long enough, everyone has the one story of something that's just seared into their brain. It doesn't matter how long it is. Like, you'll be able to tell that story of that fish to your kids 30 years from now. You'll be like, let me tell you about this time down in Florida.
That's why, you know what? Actually, I'm going to take another screenshot of that picture just in case I ever lost it. That was a good call. Because I want to be able to show people too. That's the cool thing about cameras, man, is like being able to show people. Like, I'm not lying. Like, this was a really big one.
Like, is that the one that's out of every fish you've hooked or lost? That's the one that sticks out in your entire life so far.
That's the one I would like to see. But one that I lost would have been the one that I lost probably actually would have been at Heavy Hitters this year, because Ott beat me by one fish and I lost like a 6-pounder when I went on a little flurry at the end of the day, and that would have done it.
All right, you good for one more segment?
Yeah.
You got kids inside.
They're at the playground, dude.
Oh, they're at the playground. So I called Justin yesterday to make sure, because Justin's you're approaching the level of hard to get a hold of. Like, you're kind of there already. No, I mean, you're really good at it. It's just you have a lot of people that want a lot of your time, right? It's a good thing. I mean, you're not like the Ike or Kevin where you have to. There's a couple people that you have to go through to get to, right? Yeah, I mean, you can call them, but it just doesn't play. So you're like, hey, is Ike available for this? But you're approaching that. You'll be there in a couple years.
No, dude, no.
But anyway, so I call him and he's like, hey, I'm on the phone. He calls me back, and it sounds like you're in not an atrium, not an avitorium. What is it where you walk in and it's all just birds and they're free flying birds? It's like an Alfred Hitchcock's dream, but they're an avitorium. Is that what it's called?
I don't know, man.
Someone help me out here on the instant feedback.
So but I'm like an aquarium for birds.
Yeah, something. You've never been in one of those? Like, you go in, those sides are mesh, and then it's like an aviary. You've never been in an aviary, like at a zoo or anywhere where you go and it's a big giant dome, Justin. Big giant dome. You walk in, there's like peacocks, some like Cornish game hens that are alive, sorts of like grouse, potentially some grouse, but then there's all sorts of exotic birds just flying free.
Maybe, but it wasn't like, oh, we're going in the aviary or whatever, dude. It's like, we're just gonna walk in here. No, I've never heard that.
I feel like you're really underselling the aviary and I'm really overselling it.
I feel like you are too. But my kids do. That's what it sounds like. I will agree with you. I know where you're going on that.
I said, are you watching the movie We Bought a Zoo?
Yeah, I never heard of it.
You've never heard of that movie? It's like the greatest PG-rated movie of all time.
We're going to have to rent it then. Well, we'll check it out just for you, Matt.
It's
I don't
11
know
or 12 years old.
PG is okay for a 1 and a 5-year-old, but we'll see.
It 100% is. It's Matt Damon and it's Scarlett Johansson, and it is a kid friendly. Basically, I don't want to give too much away, but they buy a zoo.
Hence the title, right? We bought a zoo.
Yeah.
Good details there, Matt.
All right. We've reminisced. We've talked about a lot of stuff. I want to get into the present and the future moving forward. I saw some bait questions, some people wanting to get the inside scoop. Berkeley coming out with a bunch of new stuff, wanting to see maybe what's on your radar there. BPT for this year moving forward. I personally think you got to be in the top 5 of favorites for Redcrest, man. I mean, that fishery should suit you this time of the year with what you like to do. So we'll be back with Justin Lucas Wednesday, January 18th, right after this.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Combining one of the most popular hook styles with Gamakatsu's beefier Superline offering, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend delivers the strength necessary to target big fish in heavy cover. Well suited for braided line and heavier fluorocarbon, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend is built using stronger Superline wire that allows anglers to easily fish a finesse worm around heavy cover. The round bend offers a larger bite area, perfect for any worm presentation, while increasing your hookup ratios. The newly enhanced Z-Bend holds your plastics on the hook longer, reducing the number of pull-offs and reducing damage to plastics. Available in 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, and 5/0, this is the most durable worm hook, designed for heavier lines that hold your bait on longer.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
All right, we are back with Justin Lucas, and during the commercial break, I can see the kind of behind stage deal, and Justin is feverishly hunting and pecking from his wide array of tackle. I saw a couple questions earlier of guys going, "Hey, a lot of new stuff out on the market. What are some of your favorite picks?" Now, obviously, they're probably going to be pure fishing, Berkley related, because that you've been that guy. I was going back when I was doing my research, and you were catching him on a Berkley worm in like 2007.
I've been with
2006,
him a long time,
2007. Man. I was shocked even back then. Like the very first couple, it was the Robo worm, but then I mean, it's like I'm doing the math. I'm like, that's like 15 years.
So that's what's crazy is my whole relationship with Berkley started when I worked at a tackle store in California, Fisherman's Warehouse. Met the sales rep for Pure Fishing on the West Coast, got introduced to him. And then as I progressed in my career, that was I got my foot in the door there. And then I never got paid until my first year on the Elites, 2014. Wow. But I had that relationship and, love the company. And that's the cool thing about where we're at with Berkley now is I've been with them since 2007 and our product is better than ever. The management better than ever, like just everything going on at Berkley right now is really good. They have a really good formula for, how they're coming out with these baits, all the testing, the input, everything they're doing is working and it's really fun to be a part of it. Same thing for Abu Garcia. Like I know I've been sponsored by these guys for a long time, but dude, there's nothing else. Like I love my gear. I love my boat, my motor, everything I use. I would not want to change a single thing at this point.
That's good stuff. And they've done a great job with their marketing because, I mean, when you think of that brand, you think of you and you think of the red and the white and the black accent boat and the primary colors with the Berkley. And I mean, you remind me of kind of Skeet has done the same thing with Lucky Craft, right? Like there's certain anglers that are just associated with certain brands over their career regardless. And that's a compliment, to the highest regard because it's like KVD and Strike King.
Yeah.
Lucas and Berkeley.
I don't know. I mean, well, I appreciate it. I love working for that company. So they're
all
great.
right. Like I said, we're equal opportunity here on BTL. So a lot of questions on the instant feedback. I have some questions about it. Is the honey badger or the money badger, the whatever crankbait, the new crankbait that I'm seeing all this stuff out? Is that anything that you didn't have that on the list?
Yeah, I mean, I just pulled a couple things off. I thought you were going to talk about Norman and things I was going to use there, but a couple of my new favorite things is the swim jig.
Is that scented?
It is.
Oh, yeah. He wins. Who wins that? Who wins that bet?
And then that money badger is definitely legit.
Is that the answer to Shad Rap?
No, it's more like your wiggle wart style bait. Casts really well, comes in a few different sizes.
So it's beefier. It's not as I've never had one in my hands. It's not slim. It's got some mass to it.
Yeah, a little bit thicker in the back. You can see there. It's not thin. The bad shad would be our Shad Rap,
okay,
deal. But this guy right here, there's a lot. And our engineers right now for plastics and for hard baits are they're really good. They're really incredible, and they're doing awesome stuff. That money badger is the real deal.
All right, Lake Norman, I got you up there with Thrift. I know he's got the piles. I know he can run 150 spots, but it's spotted bass that time of year. I think that this suits you incredibly well. You're hungry for the W. There's no reason that you won't be in this thing going into the final hour of the Derby, Justin.
I like it. I like your prediction.
Do you disagree with any of that?
No, I mean, I just want to get there and start fishing. Like, that's where I'm at. I want to get there, get it figured out. Of course, 5 fish limit now. So maybe can, mix in a few more swim bait, like maybe a few bigger things. I think that's the only thing that's really going to change for me as a fisherman is being able to throw like maybe a couple bigger baits now.
Red Crest, 5 bass limit.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought that they were doing every fish counts at Norman. So it's the 5 fish limit.
Correct. Yeah. The only ones that are every fish counts is heavy hitters in the team series.
Okay. I like your chances even more now.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know. I just got to get there. I'm going to go fish the Toyota at Harris Chain in a couple of weeks. I just need to I'm itching, man. My wife, a couple mornings ago, we're having coffee. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, I got to fish a tournament. So talk to me after Harris Chain and Toho, and I'll be real fired up for Norman. I want to go win the Toyota at Harris Chain, like in a couple of weeks. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, any wins. Awesome. What else did you grab off the wall there, Justin?
Oh, dude, you got to grab that guy.
The Stunna.
Stunna.
Yeah.
That thing's legit. Great bait. And then, of course, this guy. Fritz-Side 5, HD, Brown Craw. That's what Bobby, caught a lot of fish on at Grand Lake along with the jig last year. But those are just, some pre-spawn baits that I was thinking might work at Norman. But I wanted to show you guys that jig, and glad you brought up the money badger because that's a good one too.
Okay, be honest. Do you do you have some Mega Bass Plus ones or just regular? Do you have some of that stuff in your boat too?
So where we're at now with Berkeley is like they've pretty much made like everything that I've needed and had to buy in the past several years that they didn't have. We have now. And so my goal always, I can't throw a Berkeley bait every single time, but my goal is to start and try my best to throw it. And I have so much confidence in our stuff. Like people talk about scent on baits or whatever. And I've been with them so long, like I don't even think about scent on my baits because it already has it. And I love that. To me, that is something that I feel like will help even a guy like myself, maybe if not get a couple more bites, maybe just get the fish to hold it a little bit longer. And that's important for me, so I love our product, man. Our soft plastics are amazing. Our hard baits have just totally come around ever since we did top waters and dredgers and Fritz-Sides, chop bows, all that stuff. So
I feel like there's just certain so like I feel like 98% of guys are going to have a Spro rock crawler or a Storm wiggle wart or a mega bat, regardless of who they're sponsored by. Like there's just a couple, across the board, regardless of who you are. Like I think it'd be hard to go into someone's boat and not find at least one wiggle wart this time of year.
I mean, I have wiggle warts just you can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
I still have them. Like it's hard to sell an old bait or like give it away or something. What am I going to do with that thing? So, but this stunner right now, I mean, I picked that up myself. Like if I want to throw jerkbait, I have total confidence in that thing. It is a fish catcher. Very, very good bait.
That's good stuff. What else are you looking forward to in 2023 on the schedule? I know you said you're looking forward to getting the season started, but other than that, what else is?
Man, we have, I think personally we have a great schedule starting there at the Kissimmee chain, but, and then Norman, I don't know if Norman is like going to be a great, tournament lake to watch. There hasn't really been a big pro tournament there in a while, but Lake Murray, that place is underrated. I'm really, really pumped.
Dude, it's your year, man.
Lake Murray, then Gunnersville, and
it's
then
your year.
Of course, Cayuga, St. Clair, Saginaw Bay.
You live on that. How do you not? You always catch them up north. Like, dude, you're going to be in it. You have to be in it. I don't think there's any way you're not going to be in it this year.
I don't know.
Like, name one where you don't expect to top 5. Like, where you would be happy with a top 10.
Well, I would be happy at every single one of them with the top 10.
That's BS. That's BS. You're not going to be happy if you finish
if I top 10
at Saginaw Bay.
If I top 10 every event, I would win AOY, and I would be very
I know,
happy.
But there's a difference between, I made the top 10, and holy cow, I made the top 10 here. I'm thrilled. Like where you feel like you're getting out of town after you just robbed the bank with a 10th place finish, not doing what you expected. Name one.
Probably just
Name
say
one.
Douglas.
Okay.
That's the one in March, Douglas and then Cherokee in the same week. That's the one. If I got out of there with the top 10, I'd feel good about it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
What do you have going up? Anything people can watch, listen to, social medias? You have an up-to-date website, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you're one of the few anglers with an actual up-to-date website.
You got to look professional, even if no one goes there.
You do your own Instagram stuff?
I do, dude. So that's like when you say me getting back to you, like I still do everything myself. I think Brandon still does everything himself. And there's some guys that don't, but we, or at least for me, I love to be able to write people back. And even though sometimes it takes me a couple of weeks, I try to write everybody back. I try to look through every comment. If people have questions, try and answer them. That's always just been important for me to do for myself. So
that's good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Man, I don't know. That's about it. I'm picking up my new boat. Either today.
There's no boat in the garage. That's weird.
No boat. So I'm picking that up either today, this afternoon, or tomorrow. And then leaving for the Harris Chain Toyota next week. So I've got to get that motor broken in. But other than that, we'll be good to go. It's the same exact boat I had last year, so not many changes.
Your stuff always clean?
Dude, come on. You know it is, Matt.
It is. It's not. You're not ever like, I got to get this stuff picked up.
If it's dirty, I can't go fishing until it's cleaned up, dude. Like I just can't, in my mind, I can't do it. So that's why I spend a lot of time in here in the winter, getting everything super organized, very prepared. That way when the season starts, like I'm totally confident. It's weird to say that, but like I'm more confident and think I'll catch more fish if I'm more organized like this. I've always been that way pretty much.
Sorry, my ADD kicked in. You were talking about how your boat and motor are pretty much the same as last year.
Yeah, so it's all the same. I mean, that rig I had this year was so good that I just did the exact same thing. The only difference I made is run an Apex at the console with a Solix, because an Apex has 2 Ethernet ports. So I can bypass using the box in the rod locker like an Ethernet box. I don't need that. That thing is what causes just the graphs talking back and forth and having issues. So now I'll run one cord to the front unit, or to a unit up front and one cord to the unit on the side of the console. And I'll have 3 graphs that'll talk to each other all through the cord. And that is literally the only thing I did different. Everything else is the same.
I like it. JD Lucas doesn't want any of that smoke. He's ducked me every time I've tried to make it happen.
JD.
Yeah. When is the
when is the ping rack? I don't know, Matt. Grill off, no pellets, stick burner, brisket. Ooh. Do you don't cook anything? You don't have a real smoker, do you? Like without pellets?
No, Hallman does. He took it with us on the Opens the last couple years, and we would do like brisket and shoulder and like the barbecue stuff where we'd leave.
You think it tastes better on that than pellets?
I'm a pellet guy, man.
Are you?
Yeah, I like the pellet. I mean, I'm not afraid to cook on gas or charcoal or open fire. Like, so I've sent you some stuff. I've got a little obsession with watching this stuff on open flame.
I know, it's cool. It is fun to watch. Just the sound of that sizzle. Sometimes they're cooking them on rocks, dude. I've seen like the heated up rocks and they're just slapping a steak on a rock.
I like the cast iron with the lard on an open flame. I think that adds some character to the meat. But no, I'm 95% a pellet guy.
Okay.
What about you?
You haven't been sending me many pictures of anything you've been cooking lately. So
I've been on the venison lately.
Okay.
Right. What are you working with these days?
What did I make? I just did some steaks last night. Dude, we're steak and burger, chicken thighs, nothing that's crazy. But the one thing I'll say, if you've never had smoked meatloaf and you have a Traeger, you need to make smoked meatloaf. And that's probably what you'll tell me about the smoked bologna, right? Like most people.
Yeah, the smoked bologna's good. You have to score it and then use a salt honey brine.
Yeah.
And then get bark. They call that the bark of the bologna. Depending on how long you smoke it is how thick that bark's going to be, how much that.
I got you.
Because I mean, it's just a log of processed meat. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it takes a lot. It's hard to get any flavor in there.
I hear you.
So, all right. Well, I'm going to let you go, Justin. I greatly appreciate the time.
Love being on here, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you are the man. You're welcome anytime you have any good stories, anything that comes up. You know my number, and I'll continue to challenge you when we go through Alabama. When I drive through Alabama to a cookout.
Well, I just saw somebody say have a cookout for the listeners, and that would be kind of cool. Maybe we could do that, like just have a cookout somewhere, maybe at one of our tournaments or something, and just try and get a bunch of people there that want to come. BTL followers, some of my followers, whatever.
Yeah, that would be. We need to figure out something like that. I've been working on something like that for the last couple of years.
You got the meat hookup, so bring some of that bologna or whatever, dude.
Couple pounds of bologna.
Maybe like 20 pounds of bologna.
And then you have to do the barbecue sauce on it. No, it's good. I'll have to get back on that. I haven't done a. Is it a log or a steak? What do they call that? A bologna?
Log.
I call it a log. Haven't done a log in a while.
I hear you. All right, dude. Well, thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks, Justin. See ya.
You guys have a good day. Bye.
All right. That was Justin Lucas, one of my favorite guests on BTL. Always tells it like it is. And I give him a hard time sometimes, but I like the fact that he's always game for it. And if you actually look at his stats, I mean, you're talking Elite Series Angler of the Year, multiple Elite Series wins, BPT wins, well over $1 million. He's done it all from the time he started fishing in 2010 in the front of the boat on the FLW tour. So it's hard to believe if you think about it. He's only been in this 13 years. 10, 20. This is 2023. I mean, yeah, that's a long time, but he started right there on the same time as Polinick. That year class, so Wheeler, I believe, won the All-American in 2011. So his rookie year would have been 2012. So you take Polinick and Lucas and Wheeler that all started fishing professionally between 2010 and 2012. And then think about the fact that they have 20 to 30 years left, unless any of them decide to Rick Clun it, and then they've got like 50 years left. But all right, we're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, some really important stuff on what's going on with day 4 tomorrow, a chance to win some of Frank's baits that ends at midnight tonight. And then a look ahead at next week. Today's the 18th. So I'm looking at the schedule now, the 19th. That means Frank's in studio next week. So we'll kind of talk about what's going on with that. This is BTL on a Wednesday. Yeah, on a Wednesday with Justin Lucas. We'll be back right after this. Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
Vibrating jigs are a great choice for any time of year, and the Kamikaze Swim On is a perfect match for any vibrating jig. 2 sizes and the unique tail design gives it a bait fish profile and a great swimming action for realism. There are 17 colors. See them all at bigbitebaits.com. The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look. That matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
All right, wrapping things up here on a Wednesday. Tomorrow, Uncle Frank, day 4, number 98. As we march towards day 4, number 100. And if you do the math, that means that there may or may not be an evening show sprinkled in there sometime next week, because Frank will be in studio on the 27th. Also, all of his merchandise, BTL merchandise, hats, buffs, stickers, shirts, sweatshirts, updated, all available on the BTL store. Just go to basszone.com, click on the Shop BTL tab at the top, and get your BTL merch. I love it when guys send me the Instagram and Facebook pics of them wearing the BTL merch. Also on the 12th, Frank did a deal, a contest to win a full set of the new colors of some of his baits. That is still running until midnight tonight, which would be January 18th. So you have a chance to go over there and guess what his favorite color out of the new 6 is. And then also tell your favorite Uncle Frank story to be eligible for that contest. Next week, an angler, one of the nice guys in the sport that has not been on BTL recently, but does have a hell of a resume, and that would be Casey Ashley. Casey Ashley joins us January 23rd, and then Frank is in studio on January 26th. I'll tell you what's handy. I got one of those. I went to the Office Depot store, and I got one of those At a Glance 2023 yearly planner. So when you see me looking over there, I actually bought the like the 36 pack of the Expo markers. So you can mark out, I got ICAST marked out there. I got the classic marked out, and then all my opens are in a different color, and then where I'm out of town. But I can now, instead of just wondering what the heck's going on, I can now glance up at my 2023 yearly planner. Great idea if you're fishing like multiple trails and stuff. You can like put in, a different color for practice days, different color for tournament days, different colors for different trails you fish, put it up in your shop, put it up in your office, and then where you're supposed to be when, because that times I have difficulty figuring out where I'm supposed to be and when. So, all All right, guys, great feedback today. A lot of people on the live show. I said I don't say it very often. Comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff helps in growing BTL. If you're listening to this on YouTube and not a subscriber, go ahead and make an account, subscribe to it. And then also, I do want to mention this. I went live on Monday at noon after we did our regular show at 8:30 with the breaking news about the Western Bass Shootout that I've talked about. Click the little bell for notifications, and then you just know whenever BTL is live, because I'm going to be doing a bunch of different breaking news kind of live segments as it happens now at the studio at my house in Shawnee. So, all right, that is it for a Wednesday. Like I said, once again, big shout out to Justin Lucas for taking the time to do that. We will see everybody tomorrow for day 4. Later.